If you want to listen to anyone about Oscar picks, you shouldn't listen to me.
She's the only one with a Philly accent.
You're not going to get the nomination if you're an asshole.
I got an Oscar right
Look
here.
at the trailers for it, and it looks really mundane.
Oh my God, the fish!
You gotta go back to Skyfall.
Skyfall.
To Skyfall.
Skyfall.
To Skyfall.
I'm too lazy to do a podcast, so I appear on other people's podcasts. This is PodCRASH with that Chris Gore. Welcome to the show. I am that Chris Gore. This is PodCRASH. This is the show where you get to hear me as a guest each week on a different podcast. You get to discover new shows. I get to talk about a variety of topics. This week, my favorite topic, the movies. We're all nursing our Oscar hangovers, so what better time for me to appear on The Movie Fools than this week? Actually, I didn't appear on it this week. I appeared on it a few weeks ago. We talked about the Oscars as well as a whole bunch of other topics. And, of course, they joined me on that live Star Wars Episode 7 SmackDown wraparounds where we discussed that. That was earlier. That was my bonus episode this week. This is the real episode this week, the real episode of PodCRASH. I want to do a couple things. First of all, I want to say thanks to Tom Rude from Colorado, who actually bought the DVD Doomsday Rapid Fire box. I threw that up on eBay, and he snagged it for a cool. It was over like $600. It's like $660. I wish I'd gotten to $666. I think that would have said something. But Tom, I'm shipping it out to you this week. I'm signing it for you. So Tom Rude, Colorado. That is where the DVD Doomsday Rapid Fire box will reside in the state of Colorado. So if you're searching for the holy grail of DVD boxes or DVD storage units, it's an incredible box set. And I threw in a bunch of extra stuff for you, Tom. So thank you for that. A couple of things also. I want to remind you that we are part of the Sideshow Network. That's, all kinds of shows. Caleb Bacon's Man School, Zane Lamprey Live, Phil Hendry Show, Tommy Chong's show, which is the Chong and Chong Show, and the Jerky Boys. My all-time favorite's the Jerky Boys. You can go to SideshowNetwork.tv to find out about more shows, especially if you like this one. Okay, the Oscars. Before we talk about the Oscars, I want to talk about a simple struggle. Last year was the first year where unit sales of DVDs were eclipsed by legal sales. That is, people legally purchasing pieces of content, whether it be on iTunes or all different ways that you can buy downloads, Amazon, whatnot. DVD sales were eclipsed by download sales in terms of sheer numbers. I am happy to work towards this transition myself because I have limited shelf space, like a lot of you. Limited shelf space. You really realize how much crap you have when you move. And I recently moved. I moved back in December last year, and it was torture. It just made me think, I would like to have fewer things. Hence my ongoing eBay purge of artwork and all kinds of stuff when you don't have an attic, because I live in a place with no closets, you really realize how much stuff you have, and you have to be creative about storing it. In any case, I would like to move towards this. At one time, I had a DVD collection of over 3,000 DVDs, which I whittled down to about 800, and then from there whittled down to at least my current version of the Desert Island collection, which is an ongoing project. But what's interesting is with a lot of DVDs that you buy today is you get not only do you get the DVD, you get you get the Blu-ray, you get the standard edition DVD, but you also get the ultraviolet edition. So I thought, this is great. I have all these ultraviolet coupons. I'm going to start redeeming these, and I'm going to start building my online collection. What you don't realize is how unnecessarily complicated this is. Now, some people are going to say, Chris, it's so simple. It's this. My mom is always the example of, like, if my mom can do it, it's simple. And I don't even want to repeat the 20-minute conversation I had trying to get her to log into my Netflix on her iPad. Okay. All she has to do is put in my password and my email. But then she confused username with email. It was fun. In any case, you get these ultraviolet coupons. You redeem them. But sometimes they force you to go to either Flickster or Vudu, right, which are two services. So the cloud is where your stuff is, right, on ultraviolet. There's the cloud, right? And then this was explained to me by my girlfriend, who still was confusing. She tried to explain it to me. It's like, look, so they're in the cloud on Ultraviolet, but there are different ways that you can choose to use them. The point is that I bought Batman: The Dark Knight Returns Part 2, which came with this little coupon to redeem my Ultraviolet, but I can only redeem it through Flickster. And then some of them you can only redeem through Voodoo, like my copy of Drive or The Dark Knight Rises. So I find this irritating. So I try to do this and set up all my devices. Okay, so I've got like a Roku box, then I've got like, my PS3, and I've got my Xbox. I'm changing the name of this podcast to the white people problems. This particular section should be called that. Okay, but I have all these devices and I've had them for years, all right? It's not like I went out and bought them a year or 2 years ago. I've had these products were grandfathered in as part of my giant AV tower. In any case, so I log in on those and I'm trying to get them to show up, and Flickster doesn't want to play with Voodoo because there are two different delivery systems. The cloud is where all your stuff is in Ultraviolet, but I can't redeem my Batman Dark Knight Returns Part 2 Ultraviolet the thing because it's only Flickster. And Flickster, I've maxed out I've emailed their customer service 3 times and gotten back a BS answer every single time. I can't redeem this thing. I want to be able to just, I'm at my friend's house. I'll log into my account and we can watch my digital collection, right? Can't do it. They need to figure this out. They need to make it very simple. And then, of course, throw in iTunes. iTunes throws a whole wrench into everything. None of these things want to play with each other. This is what irritates me. This is why actually, as much as like Blu-ray is awesome and I love it. HD DVD screwed that up. When they came up with 2 competing systems and you have to choose, it doesn't work. People like one delivery method. I have a TV, I turn it on. All of my programming comes onto this. Thank you, entertainment gods. And then you've got, okay, Blu-ray finally won that war, but it actually destroyed the hope of Blu-ray actually dominating. I mean, HD DVD confused people, then they were sick of it, and now they're just moving to online anyways. I mean, I'm really hoping that the next Xbox is a Blu-ray player as well. I think that would save us all a lot of trouble. But these different digital delivery systems. So you've got Netflix, which is fine. I love my Netflix, and I have had it for years. I've been a subscriber for years, and House of Cards, incredible. But this whole Voodoo, the whole way that Ultraviolet, I do not like it. It doesn't. It's not. My mom could not use. I'm going to be on the phone with my mom for 9 hours trying to explain that. It already took me 20 minutes to just enter my email and a password to get onto Netflix. Okay. So she is a gauge. I don't know if any of you have had any issues with this. You can email me, podcrashwiththatchrisgore@gmail.com. I would love to hear what your opinion is about this whole Ultraviolet Blu-ray debate. I find it irritating. I want to hear that. In fact, I do answer your letters here on the show. So I got here a very fun and interesting letter from a guy named Dave Alspector. Says, "How the shit do you drive in this town?" I think he's talking about Los Angeles, and he's in Marina Del Rey, or he's from Marina Del Rey. In any case, Dave Alspector from Marina Del Rey. How do you drive in this town? How I drive and how I survive in this town, frankly, is that people drive more aggressively in Los Angeles than any other city. It is like the road warrior. It is like the road warrior. And very soon, I think we're going to be seeking out gasoline by squeezing it out from dirty rags into Frisbees to put it in our cars. So it's a horribly... How I survive is, frankly, I listen to books in my car. That's all I do, is I just listen to books. I know that sounds really cheesy, but it's how I get... It's how I actually get around LA, and I feel like I'm not completely wasting my time. So actually... This is a great segue. Audible.com. You can listen to all sorts of your books, your favorite books. The thing that I'm actually listening to right now, I am listening to Ready Player One, read by Will Wheaton. It's fantastic. It's a story. It's about. It's set in the near future, And it's about, yeah, folks, you thought I was the movie guy. I listen to books. I like to consider myself very well listened, and I am ecstatic to actually have Audible.com now as a sponsor of the show. You can support PodCRASH. But let me tell you about this book. So Ready Player One, which is like an 11-hour long book. I love a long book. Narrated by Will Wheaton, is about this distant future. It's like in the year 2030 something. And this brilliant, sort of a Steve Jobs enigmatic, brilliant game designer in the future dies and leaves after his death a message, a 5-minute video in which he challenges everyone who goes to the Oasis, which is the Oasis is this thing that he created. It's like World of Warcraft, except everyone does everything in it, from shopping, they go to school, they converse with their friends. It's a dystopic, correct me later, future where people just jack into a thing called the Oasis. And they do everything in there, from going to school to relating to their friends to actually playing video games. So he created this thing called the Oasis. Upon his death, he left his fortune of hundreds of millions of billions of dollars to whoever can find this thing in the Oasis. And it's 5 years later, and it focuses on this kid who stumbles upon the first real clue that anyone has found in 5 years. And it's a race. It's almost like Willy Wonka-like, but it is definitely a great comment on video games and our current, how we relate to digital media. It's an amazing book. And the great thing is Will Wheaton narrates it, which I love Will Wheaton. If you follow his tweets, he's one of the best people on Twitter. But in addition to that, there's all these references in it, and including references to Star Trek, which is really funny because you hear him basically talking about Star Trek, but it's Will Wheaton, so he kind of, all right. In any case, for a free audiobook of your choice, go to audiblepodcast.com/funny. And you can find things from the New York Times bestseller list, stuff like Ready Player One, another book that I just read called Trust Me, I'm Lying. Amazing books. That's how I actually survived, Dave. And I didn't actually mean to do like the plug right there. I actually have the Audible plug. But I thought that's actually how I survive in LA. Aside from that, I just sort of drive aggressively, so I'll listen to action movie music. It's a weird thing about me because I feel like, so support the show, support PodCRASH. Go to audiblepodcast.com/funny. But I survive it by listening to action movie music, and I like this is a weird thing. I figured this out about myself. Whenever I go anywhere in LA, I'll check on the GPS, especially somewhere I've never been, right? I check on the GPS first how long it's going to take me to get there. I just double the time. So if it says 20 minutes, it's 45 minutes, okay? Easily double, if not triple the time. And then I play, if I'm not listening to a book, because I really like to savor it, and I will miss exits. I will, zone out listening to a book. So I like them on long trips. Which you're going to have a long trip if you're driving anywhere across town in LA. I listen to action movie music, and I figured out that I kind of get an adrenaline rush from almost being late. And when you play action movie music, when you're almost late getting anywhere in LA, it kind of, I don't know, it's kind of exciting. It's like a choose your own adventure. You're like in an action movie in your car, and you're playing. I play a lot of weird movie soundtracks. Is the bulk of all of the music that I own. In fact, I'm about to do a movie soundtrack podcast, oddly enough. I'm super excited about that. That is upcoming. Okay, let's get to this week's crash. Oh, and just a quick thing. Definitely pop me an email about this or anything I talk about on the show. podcrashwiththatchrisgore@gmail.com. You can also check out videos on youtube.com/podcrashtv. And you can see photos from our live shows and just from podcasts I do. I'll take pictures when I'm visiting with people. Go to facebook.com/podcrash, and you can follow the show on Twitter @podcrashshow. Okay, that's for new listeners of the show. Let's get to this week's crash, which is it's the Movie Fools, which I met these guys. We met we shopped at the same DVD store, which Interact DVD, which I've talked about before on the podcast, which is now closed. It's out of business. And Dave Sparks, who runs the store, just my hero for keeping that thing open for so many years. And there was like a real sense of community there. But I met the people from the Movie Fools, which was Adam Armstrong, Mike Snowden, and Monica Shao. Monica Shao. What am I saying? It's an Asian name. I should know this. Monica Shao. So Adam, Mike, and Monica came to my place, actually. And it's like Movie Fools is just this online blog that they have, like, they'll do sketches about movies. They talk about all kinds of other geek topics. I mean, it's like they're my kind of people. I mean, like, when we met at Interact, we talked for half an hour about doing a podcast where we talked about all things movies. And I thought we should have just recorded what we just talked about, because that would have been interesting. We just, it's like the minute they got here, I'm showing them my DVD collection, showing them around my place. I'd still, my place was a little bit of chaos, but they were cool. I fed them beer and snacks. We joked around and we recorded the podcast. They also recorded the wraparounds of the previous episode, the Star Wars Episode 7 SmackDown. Anyways, it was a great conversation. This was before the Oscars. We talk about everything we talk about now, even though it's like post-Oscars, right? And now I'll get into my Oscar conversation because we're going to talk about it. I actually think that this was one of the best Oscars I have seen since I've been watching the Oscars. Hear me out. I love when a comedian can come out and shit on the Oscars and shit on celebrity and shit on these sort of overblown egos and self-importance of the movies. They always do this. They give this speech and they do a montage every year where it's like, the movies, they change our world. They affect our lives. They're more important than anything. No, they're not. They're not. They're a distraction, and they certainly have an influence in the ongoing pop culture conversation and in the zeitgeist and whatnot. But movies aren't the most important thing. I really think that TV as an entertainment form has actually taken over movies in that sense. But I thought that Seth MacFarlane did an amazing job. The William Shatner Kirk thing at the beginning was hysterical. We saw Your Boobs song, incredibly memorable. They kept they kept a lot of the BS to a minimum. I feel like I could have used a little bit more Seth MacFarlane. I think there were some comedians that usually come out and they're amazing, but Paul Rudd kind of tanked his bit about cartoon voiceover actors. I don't know. That was strange. There was a tie for the very first time. Never seen a tie in the Oscars in all the years I've been watching it. Okay. It was just, and it moved quickly. I don't know as much as it wasn't the shortest Oscar telecast ever, but they really kept it moving quickly. I feel like most of my Oscar predictions were on. Usually when I make an Oscar prediction, it's either going to be this or this person. Like I would give it to that. There's usually like two correct answers in that, but you'll hear us talking about it. Really what we're talking about is not so much predictions as Oscars methodology, like how they come up with this. And I wanted to be the last to have the word on the Oscars, which is why this is going up on a Wednesday or a Thursday, whenever this, I don't know, but having problems with iTunes now. When I post the show, it doesn't show up in iTunes for like sometimes a day. You just have to click refresh on your subscribe thing, which reminds me, you got to subscribe to this show. Go to iTunes and subscribe. PodCRASH with that Chris Gore. Subscribe. Give us a 5-star review if you think we deserve it. And subscribe to the show is how you really show support. Or if you're in your car and you're like me, I listen to PodCRASH on Stitcher. Well, I don't listen to PodCRASH on Stitcher. I just listen to see that it's there and that the audio quality, it's like, oh, the audio quality is good. Okay, good. I'm going to listen to something else. Frankly, I can't stand listening to my own voice, as odd as it is for a guy who does a podcast. Okay, so let's get into the Movie Fools. It's a great conversation. Everything from Marvel movies to nerdiness to Star Wars to Oscars to typical of any conversation with me. It's very ADD. It's very ADD. It's all over the map. 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 Okay, for those who love naked gold men, I dedicate this to you, the Movie Fools. I really feel like Marvel did such a great job filling this universe out.
Yeah.
That it's almost like I feel like all the movies previous that connect to Avengers are prequels to the Avengers.
Yeah.
Because there were things, my understanding is there were things that they held back on. Like they didn't want to have New York be a set piece for a big battle scene because they were saving that for the Avengers. Yeah. Which is why you've got locations like New Mexico and other parts of the world.
And like London for Rise of Silver Surfer.
Tony Stark's in Malibu.
Yeah.
Well, but see, that's not part of the Marvel. Rise of Silver Surfer is not part of the Marvel chronology created by those Marvel guys at Disney. Like that really was cool how they had all those films connect. Captain America, like they were prequels, and they can still go back and tell those stories. I was saying that what they should do with Justice League is just make the Justice League movie.
Yeah.
You can, if it hits, you can make a prequel and show the origin of Wonder Woman. But just make the Justice League. I mean, like if Alan Moore has taught us anything, or Frank Miller, chronology is irrelevant in storytelling.
Yeah, absolutely.
And you can go backwards, you can go the other way, and of course, just Lost did that all over the place.
And I mean, at this point, if you don't know who
Flash
Superman,
forward.
Batman, Wonder Woman, the Flash, Green Lantern are, then you
don't need to
know
see
anything.
Wonder Twins, hello, Robin.
Before we get into
James
DC,
Tampon.
I have to
You're
comment
gonna
on the
defend. You're gonna defend the
I have to
Spider-Man.
defend it.
Okay.
Here's the thing. I have to do this because that's my gateway.
Sure,
right?
sure. Go
So
for
the
it.
fact
Your
is,
gateway comic?
My gateway comic was Spider-Man.
Was it Amazing Fantasy number 15?
Yes.
All right. Okay. You got cred. You got cred there.
Thank you. Thank
All
you.
right. So let's hear it.
The fact of the matter is, yes, they are going off the Ultimate line, but that's confusing because I explained to people because it's an Ultimate comic, though it takes the Amazing Spider-Man title, which is the original line, right? So they're mixing.
Right.
They're mixing universes. I understand
Right.
that, and yeah, there's a lot of plot holes. But what I agreed on is the fact that the Spider-Man of Tobey Maguire's world or Sam Raimi's world was the hunky-dory one from the 60s, 70s, where they're the go-to guy with the sweater vest that's like, oh, I'm a nice guy, But the fact of the matter is, if you look
No, you're right. What I'm saying is that's absolutely right. Like Tobey Maguire was the old school Spider-Man.
Old school Spider-Man.
And then the new Spider-Man is the ultimate. It's the more modern Spider-Man. Except I have to ask, does he ride a skateboard?
And I disagree with that.
I feel
disagree with
that's
that.
where I'm like, oh my god, he's Poochie.
Yeah.
He's Poochie. They Poochified Peter Parker, and they also made him. He's not a nerd. He's actually kind of cool.
Well, and that's the thing. Like, he's a very smart dude. Yeah, well, and that's what Marvel did. That's why I really like Marvel Comics. I'm a Marvel kid from the get-go because they brought out the smart. Shut up. They brought out the smart in their characters, right?
Right.
But with Spider-Man, a lot of shit happened in his life, so he's not always going to be hunky-dory.
Right.
But what they did right is, okay, he is the little goth. He rides a skateboard. I disagreed with all that. What I liked, though, is the conflict that they decided to go with between Uncle Ben and Peter Parker, because that brings out more of an inner turmoil.
Yeah, I did like that they developed that relationship more, which they didn't so much in the Tobey Maguire original. But I feel like it was just, to me, it's just too soon. The legal reasons, it's flawed. It wasn't sort of universally loved. I also think it's one of the movies that won't age well. Whereas I feel like the old Spider-Man ages. I think that Spider-Man 2 is the better one.
Oh yeah, we all agree on that one.
Yeah,
Three kind of got away with him.
Yeah,
maybe that'll be the case in this, where Spider-Man 2 will be the better movie then.
Hopefully.
Well, the new Spider-Man 2. Is it Amazing Spider-Man 2? Now we're not going to be able to keep track.
Well,
they're starting to renumber them.
Long story short, though, with the Spider-Man is they brought out more of the good Peter Parker and good Spider-Man. Because, in the beginning, he's an idiot. He runs around, does things. Like, they did that with the conversation with Dennis Leary. Like, he doesn't know what he's doing, And so that kind of pushes Andrew Garfield to be like, I should think more about this. And then with Spider-Man, they brought out, his smarts. He created his web shooters in this one. I love that. And they brought out his naivety in this one. So I think, yes, Spider-Man 2 is going to be better. I do agree they rushed it, but I think they have a much better Spider-Man, and B, a much better Peter Parker. Like, the way I describe it is I like Maguire's. I don't really like. Thinking back on it, I used to be a big Tobey Maguire fan. In that movie, he did everything right, but his Spider-Man was much more whiny. He cried way too much. Way too much.
He was wimpy. I feel like he was wimpy, and he was a real nerd because he was picked on and bullied. He also didn't, you knew that inside, he was capable of making the correct moral choice, but just what didn't have the backbone or the fortitude. And then when he was gifted with the superpower, uses it for really selfish reasons, and it needs to be reined in. I feel like that aspect was handled much better than he gets the power and he just decides to go out and. I feel like it was just more meaningful, where it was just something in the way Tobey Maguire portrayed Peter Parker, I'm going to use this power. Now I have the calling, and I feel like that wasn't really as plain. And also, the talk about the fish was so annoying. That stupid thing with the dinner and the fish, it was why do they keep bringing up this fish thing?
Yeah.
Oh my God, the fish. Enough with the fish.
Well, the one.
It just became this weird thread where it's just this has nothing to do with Spider-Man. It's not even something that's that would even be in a comic. You know, you wouldn't even have something like that even being a thread. It would be some other little B story or B thing that would be mentioned that would be really clever and cute and weird, you know, and like a reference. So it's like they didn't even have respect enough for the source material to bring up other little things. Yeah. Although, they actually threw in some stuff that was cool, but that fish thing just bothered me.
The fish thing bothered me, but the last thing I'll say about Spider-Man is they actually brought out more of the young kid in Spider-Man. So, like, he was more witty with his, like, while he was fighting, he had more comebacks, more, like, quips.
That I like.
That I like, because that's in all the comics.
It's almost like, okay, here's where maybe we could agree. Okay, so here's how we could agree. Tobey Maguire is the best Peter Parker. Mm-hmm. And
Garfield,
Andrew Garfield is the best Spider-Man.
Yeah.
As I think Christian Bale is the best Bruce Wayne. I just want to put this to rest forever. There is no good argument for a movie made for a legal reason. I really feel that I almost think that making a movie to make money is better than for a legal reason, which I guess in a way kind of ties into why Amazing Spider-Man was made. It was made to make money. They were using they had this legal loophole, which was they needed to have a Spider-Man movie, you know, in production by a certain time. And so they did that. They fulfilled that. And which I guess allowed them to continue to make a movie and make money with it. But that Amazing Spider-Man movie really lost me. I'm not a fan of it, and I'm not looking forward to the second one. Okay, all right, back to the movie fools.
Yeah, 9 times out of 10, if a movie is Oscar material, it's something that I probably don't really want to see.
And that's the thing.
But here's the thing: is like I also feel that a lot of those films that are Oscar movies, they don't necessarily hold up over time.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know, there's something it's usually social issue stuff. I've often called it the White People Movie Drama Awards.
Yeah, it's pretty much.
It's pretty much.
Can you hashtag
white
that
people?
by the end of this?
You could do that. Hashtag White People Drama Movies.
Yeah,
The white drama, but they've broken barriers in that regard, so that's good. Mm-hmm. I mean, you know, finally. But they're slow to change. The show is often boring.
Yep.
And it's one of those things where it's like, I watch it because it's fun to complain about, not fun to watch.
I like watching the technical Oscars on that.
Oh, I do. What's that?
I like watching the technical Oscars because that's just really boring.
Yeah. Where do they
you can
they
find
put
it
online
sometimes. Yeah,
oh, that's great.
So you can just sit there and like people who have
because no one gives a shit.
Yeah, no one gives a shit, and it's people who have no business being on a stage or giving speeches talking about how great a job they did in being the best gaffer.
Yeah.
Wow.
Well, see, like what I've recently, the reason I've stopped watching Oscars is because it seems like it's all, like you said, is like boring movies that are the writer comes to the table is like, I got an Oscar right here. You know, it's kind of, instead of driving towards the art of filmmaking, of directing, of acting, they're like, I just want a fucking Oscar.
I wouldn't say boring. I would say that they're definitely focused more on social issue.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
For sure. And then secondly, it's movies that are important.
Yeah.
I mean, right?
Oscars
so these movies are
type.
important. It's not. I wouldn't say it's the best movies. I would say these are movies that, by way of giving them recognition, will call attention to a social issue if it's a documentary, a social issue even if it's a drama, or just something. It's an ill in society that Hollywood wants to comment on.
Yeah, exactly.
You know,
oftentimes their selections are infinitely more political than they are entertainment based.
Yeah,
that's exactly. You hit the nail on the head.
Like some of these things. Like, okay.
Let's go through, because this is probably the year I have seen the least amount of Oscar films, and I get screeners as being a member of the BFCA. I get screeners, so I've seen a good chunk, and there's some that I haven't seen.
That's one of my goals in life is getting screeners.
Are we gonna go? We're gonna go through the top 5.
Let's just start. Let's just start at the top. Best Picture. All right. There's a lot of stuff on here that.
Oh, we're not gonna build up to Best Picture.
No, well, we can do that.
Let's do the build up. Build up. Start from the back.
If you want to start, all right. Let's look at writing.
If you want to do this, let's do this. Let's do this right.
Yeah, let's do it. All right. First of all, I've read a couple of these screenplays.
Okay. So what are the nominees?
So the nominees are Amour, written by this is writing original screenplay. Amour, written by Michael Haneke. It was a French movie that no one saw. Django Unchained, which I've read that screenplay and I actually like the screenplay better than the movie.
Sick burn.
Flight, written by John Gattens. I did not see Flight, which I really wanted to. Moonrise Kingdom, Wes Anderson and Roman Coppola. And Zero Dark 30, written by Mark Bowl. Now, again, a lot of these are political, I think. The Zero Dark 30 for sure.
Oh, yeah.
But a lot of these, I read the Django Unchained screenplay just because it was for free and I grabbed it, and honestly I think it was better written than performed, that movie.
Really?
I really liked Christoph Waltz. He was fantastic. He played that part perfectly, and he ate up scenes every time he was in it. Just all you could stare at on the screen was him. But the way it was written was way more over the top, which, in retrospect, probably wouldn't have fit in the movie. But I kind of wanted to see that sort of preserved more on the screen.
It's almost like his character was what Jamie Foxx wore in that first scene as a free man, right?
A little bit.
Like over the top,
I feel like Christoph
bright,
Waltz toned
vibrant.
it down a lot when he was performing in that movie. Which fit the tone in the movie better, sure. But I don't
his
know.
character almost, too, because he was an actor, like bounty hunter in that one.
Yeah, but he's much more effuse in the writing, which I thought was really cool, but they didn't do it.
Plus, you got to say effuse.
Yeah, exactly.
That's a good word to use in reference to writing.
See, that's my thing. He's the drunkard, she's the quiet one, and I like to use big words in the
I'm
conversation.
not... okay, let's just get that straight. I'm the creative type. Type, not
But I think,
type.
but with that, are people really going to judge based on the written screenplay?
No,
They're judging based on a film, someone that they
exactly.
like. I did not see Django Unchained.
Right.
I have not seen it. I didn't get a screener. And it's one I desperately want to see in the theater. It's
Right, yeah,
been a
it's good to
chaotic
see on the
last few
screen.
months.
Yeah.
But I've seen Flight. I saw what was the other? There were it was
Amore and Moonrise Kingdom and Zero Dark
Moonrise
30.
Kingdom and Zero Dark 30. I both liked those immensely. I don't know how the screenplay to Zero Dark 30. Well, I mean, like,
It's pretty-
I love that film. It's
Yeah.
intense, but I feel like the best part, building up at the end. I mean, that was amazing. I just don't know how you look on that as a writing. That's incredibly well directed.
Yeah.
That I would say. The written, I don't know. Moonrise Kingdom, that's all about the writing.
Yeah,
To me,
absolutely.
that's all about the writing.
No, which
It's
one's
it's
Moonrise
so
Kingdom?
clever.
It was the one
So
with
Wes Anderson.
Bill Murray and God, everyone was in that movie.
Of course, he'd be
It's
in
the
Wes
one
Anderson.
But it was a Wes
two-
Anderson movie. It was like
second-
two
The
kids
two kids
fall in
that
love
basically
and
run away. They run away from home and they're in love.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
And they're like, it's super cute.
Yeah.
And that to me, if just on writing alone, I mean, definitely Tarantino, having read, and I've read a lot of Tarantino screenplays past, his writing is amazing.
Yeah.
I mean, spelling errors aside, who cares? It's
got a lot of those.
The passion is so there. So, I mean, I would say that those are the odds-on favorite to be those two.
Yeah.
But I can never. I would say that if you want to listen to anyone about Oscar picks, you shouldn't listen to me. Because I try to think logically, and I've learned just from past experience that the Academy does not think logically.
No, they think politically, and I think about what I liked most, which really they don't consult me when I make my picks, which is really their
they
own
don't.
fault.
Yeah, next time you get a call from someone who doesn't have a number, you should probably pick up. It's probably the Academy.
I do screen a lot of calls.
Yeah, you do.
So writing, what is the consensus? How are we doing this?
I honestly,
Well, I
Does everybody get a vote?
we could vote. Yeah, let's
I've
vote.
only seen one of those,
only
but
seen
from the
two.
sound of it, because I've only seen Django. I'm actually going to go with the French film no one's seen because
Amore?
Yeah, well, I was going to say more, but you said it.
Because it makes you sound smarter.
And everyone knows I kind of need that, so
Right, there you go.
to my advantage. But Amore or the Moonrise Kingdom because it goes out of the political boundaries. From my thoughts, I haven't seen
The
it all.
Moonrise Kingdom is a movie that you'll be able to see 10 years from now to hold up.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Some of
it's
these
kinda like
others that
My
are
Girl or
political are just not going to have the weight, I
I don't think Zero Dark 30 will be something people talk about much.
No, I think it's now. It's relevant now
Yeah.
because we're still in that whole political
Quagmire?
debate.
It's
Yeah,
a
the whole
great
Quagmire.
movie, but I think I don't think it was as good as everyone says it is.
So you know, what? I'm just gonna put my vote in Moonrise Kingdom.
Moonrise Kingdom.
Moonrise
I'm
Kingdom
gonna
for
see
me.
it. I'm gonna see it. I'm gonna look at it and see if I really
What about you?
go back on it.
Django.
You think
Because I
Django?
haven't seen Moonrise Kingdom,
Well,
but
Tarantino did take the Golden Globe for it, so
Well,
depends on how
But that
much they
doesn't-
want to like.
This
Follow
is
the
we're sitting here. It's like we haven't seen most of the movies. This might be the word.
And then Adam's like, "Well, he did take the award for it." Fuck awards.
But that look. If the internet has taught us anything, not having knowledge of a topic doesn't mean that you can't have an opinion about it. Get more info and find show Easter eggs at our official website at podcrash.net. Now back to this week's podcast. Look, music would be fun to talk about.
We can talk about music. What do we? So these are. Do we want original? Yeah, these are original score.
original songs.
So, original song we have "Before My Time" from Chasing Ice.
Original song?
yeah.
Yes, I don't care about any of these. Whatever you guys vote, I will back you up.
Original score.
Is it the Bond movie? Okay, that's the one I vote
yeah,
for. Which was
Skyfall's
a
on here.
horrible song.
Yeah.
Skyfall. It's a
Why?
Skyfall.
It's very fitting,
Because
though.
it ended up being, of course, because it's the name of where he grew up.
Yep.
It's this. You're not like Skyfall. Ooh, is it a computer virus? Is it a bomb? Is it a missile? Is it Skylab? Or it's some space station?
Skylab.
Is it like what is Skyfall? It's where James Bond grew up as a kid.
Actually,
lame.
The second time I saw that movie, I paid attention to the lyrics. She tells you in the song that it's where he grew up. So if anyone had been paying attention to it...
Oh my God. I did, yeah, because when I watched the movie, I'm like, as soon as I found out what Skyfall was, I'm like, this sucks.
It's like, she's like, you got to go back to Skyfall. And I'm like, but that just tells everyone
And
what
also,
it
if
is.
James Bond had listened to the song, it would have been a much shorter movie.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, so we're moving to, what about, soundtracks? I will say this. I love movie soundtracks.
I do too.
I have collected movie soundtracks since I was a kid. I would fall asleep when I was in school to the Sound of Movie soundtracks, wearing a giant headset at the time.
Yep.
They didn't have earbuds then. And movie soundtracks was my life. I mean, so I have more movie soundtracks than any other genre of, whatever. But and I love obscure ones, like, and I could talk to you about composers, but I think Prometheus has an amazing soundtrack. I think that is a good one. I don't know.
Not nominated.
That sucks.
Everything
I think The Dark Knight
nominated.
Rises.
Not nominated.
Nope.
I can't believe that. That
was
is a
good.
crime.
Yeah, and I also love the Avengers soundtrack, Alan Silvestri.
Yep.
Yeah.
I love that score, and not nominated. Oh, we got Anna Karenina, Argo, Life of Pi, Lincoln, and Skyfall. None of which I thought...
I think
had stand
Argo's
up.
probably the best among them.
Most likely.
Because it not only carries the great tone, but like it really just the fact that they took a story that we knew the ending to effectively, and made it so compelling. It was just the combination of everything. I mean, it's my favorite movie this year.
Yeah.
Really, in terms of just like sort of overall everything perfect movie. That thing is just amazing.
Yeah, it was a really well made.
And the
movie.
payoff
Really
at the
good.
end, staying for the credits with all the geek stuff, not
Oh
promoting
my
anything,
God!
is so good.
Amazing.
That credit sequence where it's like, it's this thing, it's sort of like, it reminds me almost like a Field of Dreams in the sense that like, there's that sort of father-son subplot that is kind of casually mentioned.
Yeah.
But it's not even a big deal. And then there's his relationship with his son. His son inspires the operation.
Yeah.
By saying, what are you watching? Beneath the Planet of the... it was... Battle for the Planet of the Apes.
Yes,
Yeah,
exactly.
And it's when they go to that city, and it's so funny. Paul Williams is in that makeup.
Yeah.
he's one of the orangutans as they're watching. I remember that one as being like that's when it got like totally exploitation. The Planet of the Apes movies.
That's when you started drinking
and that kind of
Pepsis and
inspired.
smoking
It's this sort of desert thing he's looking at. It's like totally inspired. I'm sure they got the rights to Battle for it because they could not get the rights to the one that Heston was in, the Planet of the Apes, and get footage of Heston. But I'm sure they could have. But Battle for it is way better. And it was in the era. Any case. That payoff is so cool.
Yeah.
And then it's the father-son thing that pays off at the end. We're talking spoiler territory here, where it's a thread that comes up, and I've seen that movie like 6 times.
Yeah.
Because I have a screener. And I've watched it like with my different members of my family, sat down and watched it, and you see that thread, and it comes up like every 10 or 15 minutes, there'll be another father-son exchange.
Yeah.
He's writing the birthday card from the airport. It's this little subtle thing. So, I'm really, really impressed with that film.
Yeah, absolutely. Because, I mean, he managed to make it about this huge thing happening, but still really focus in on, his character, which is really what made it so important.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it really was also like when story and character are merged like that. That's when that to me that's gold. That's the most difficult thing, and it's so. It seems like it's simple, it's not. But that's when I think a movie works perfectly, is when those things intermingle like that. And you can see, you really only notice it when it doesn't happen in movies like Prometheus, like we were talking about earlier.
Yeah, when it falls apart a little bit. And who would have thought that the guy from Reindeer Games would be such a great director? I mean, come on.
Yes.
Pulling it out?
Well, no,
I love
he
the
deserves a lot of
talent,
credit,
too.
but I have to say Grant Heslov is the producer of that film. And Grant Heslov, producing partner with people like George Clooney, now working, of course, with Affleck, and he's worked with Soderbergh. Like, that guy came from indie film, and he's amazing. Like, I programmed one of his early indie movies into a film festival and met him years ago.
Right.
I'm sure he'd not remember me. But Grant came to the Sonoma Valley Film Festival with his movie it was Bug is the name of the film.
Right.
And it's an amazing feature. Talk more about that later. But in any case, Grant Heslov really deserves a lot of credit because he's one of those creative producers.
Yeah.
I know this just like having known him then, and then also when you listen to the commentary, he'll show up on DVD commentaries. And this is a guy that's not just a producer like a money guy. He's a producer that is a support system creatively. I mean, look, he made Ben Affleck a good director.
Yeah.
And I'm not taking anything away from Ben. I think that's a guy. Also, I love seeing him when he's been on Bill Maher's show on HBO.
Yeah.
The guy definitely has deeper layers to him than most actors.
They're Daredevil, right?
Well, in Daredevil, it wasn't that bad. I mean, it was like... I wasn't that bad. I like things, what he did. I like some of the choices he made in that. At least it made you care a little bit about him, you know?
Yeah.
And get into the world of that character. It's really amazing to see Benjamin Affleck evolve as a director. I mean, he really has a sensibility where it's, keeping things real. I think that comes from obviously being an actor, but you have to give him credit for Argo. It was just beat for beat one of my favorite movies of the year. Just everything from the look to the music to, it's a historical event where we know the outcome, yet he made it into a thriller. It's fantastic. So he deserves that credit. I'd like to see him do a superhero movie. I know it sounds weird. I'd love to have him do something more blockbustery and mainstream, but keeping that same aesthetic of keeping it character based. All right, let's back to the movie friends. Next category.
What was that? That was makeup? Okay.
So makeup, we all voted for...
Hobbit.
It was, I think, you said Hitchcock.
I say Hitchcock because
Hitchcock,
that's the best of those movies.
I have not seen Hitchcock yet.
It's fantastic.
Les Miserables' makeup did not in any way make me think.
I stopped watching it when Russell Crowe started to sing. I stopped watching it.
Not so great the singer.
It was like every time he would come on to sing, I was like, I can't stand this. Like, this doesn't work.
Yeah, he's he has a band, but
it wasn't so
that does
much
not apparently train
that
you for
he
Broadway.
was bad. It's that everyone else was so much better than him.
Yeah,
Hugh Jackman was so much better that when he sang, it was like, oh, he's definitely the villain.
Yeah.
They would not have the good guys sing well.
That was weird. All right, next category, foreign language film. I did not see any of those, so I don't think...
Let's just pass. Let's get to the big ones.
Film editing,
Acting.
documentary...
Big ones?
Cinematography? Do we want to... Oh, wait, we skipped directing. We shouldn't skip directing. That's an
Well,
important...
directing comes before the... You were doing it like in the order... Like, directing comes before the Best Picture.
So
we gotta go actors.
They have it out of order in here, so...
So Best Supporting Actor and Best Supporting Actress.
Yeah. All right, so let's do actress in a supporting role. All right, so...
The nominees are...
Amy Adams for The Master, Sally Field for Lincoln, Anne Hathaway for Les Miserables, Helen Hunt for The Sessions, and Jackie Weaver for Silver Linings Playbook.
I have seen all of those, and I'm going to say the winner should be Helen Hunt because she gets full frontal nude. I'm not sure if she wore a merkin, but it is an amazing performance. I think Sally Field was kind of, I don't know. I also didn't like her in Spider-Man either, as an annoying Aunt May.
I'm surprised. I'm glad they didn't
Was the
put her
supporting
in
actress in Silver Linings the mom?
Yes, that's the mom.
So I just saw that today.
Okay.
And I will say the one thing I found upsetting about the whole family situation is you have Bradley Cooper, Robert De Niro, and whatever bucket, right?
Jackie Weaver.
Jackie Weaver. She's the only one with a Philly accent. That bugged me.
Bradley Cooper had a Philly attitude.
He had a Philly attitude, but he didn't have the accent.
You're right.
Yeah.
So he had a Philly attitude, but that doesn't translate.
Yeah.
So
You're saying he wanted to punch everything?
Yeah, exactly.
He punched everything.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
I feel like though he had a good motivation for wanting to punch. I feel like it's like, how is he crazy? He's mad because his wife was cheating and he caught them.
With an old
and he got
dude.
mad. I feel like it's like, cut the guy some slack. I don't care if you're in Philly or whatever. I feel like that situation would, be a freak out.
Especially when they said he was like undiagnosed bipolar. So it's like, that gives a little more cushion to the fact he punches everyone.
The whole point of that movie was like everyone in that family was crazy, and he was the only one who really got sent up for it.
Yeah.
Like his dad is, if not worse than just the same as he is. He's got severe OCD. He's got rage issues. He's probably bipolar as well.
The older brother is really successful. The mom,
but
with an accent.
like the older brother is sort of super mean and like throwing people's stuff in their faces all the time. The mom is, I think she might be the only one who wasn't crazy, but she was almost crazy for putting up with everyone. Yeah. So it's just this weird.
blah, blah, blah. What does Monica think? I think, what is the woman in our group?
Tell us about what you think women. Which one do you pick?
Which one of the female performances? Because women are tend to be super judgmental of other women.
That's true.
They tend to. Okay, good. Yeah. So knowing that that's the case, I would think that Monica should pick.
I haven't seen The Master or Lincoln or The Sessions.
So 3 out of the 5.
The Master was great. The Master was amazing.
It's just we didn't get a
Weird
chance to
movie,
see it.
but just on acting level, superb.
But we saw Les Mis, and I think Anne Hathaway was brilliant. Although she was only there for 20 minutes, but I don't know, she was just that song.
I think you're just still high off the whole Dark Knight Rises discussion. I think that's why.
No, it's just that
Catwoman singing.
But I feel like that can influence voting is when you've been in another movie that was really popular. I feel like that can actually help you because she was really good as Catwoman. I thought that was amazing how she went. I'm not talking about in the costume even, which I thought was great. I don't know if she did all those high kicks. Speaking as someone who's done a few high kicks in my life, not successfully, but I've done some high kicks. She was fantastic when she would just completely change her demeanor from like this, like when she was
that's true, yeah.
pretending as the maid and she'd be this sort of meek, and then she would just change her attitude. It was awesome. Yeah. It was cool. That shift
was like
was
my
really
favorite part of that movie.
Yeah, I actually thought that's the thing you can't complain about with there. I thought that all the actors in that did great.
Yeah, absolutely. Tom Hardy.
All the actors aren't the problem with that movie. It's the sort of story that's a little unbelievable.
I always felt bad for Tom Hardy because of his whole voice thing.
He still did great.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's a very physical
he did
part.
A great job with the
to
physicality.
Act through that was great.
But we went and we stood in line at where were we for that? At City Walk.
Yeah.
City Walk.
And we saw the 6-minute preview.
Oh yeah, for that.
So I saw that as well.
Preview, yeah, the 6-minute preview was just the airplane bit.
Everyone was leaning forward in their seats.
We're like, what did he say? And so there was this huge blow up on the internet about not being able to understand Bane.
And now they've kind of overcompensated.
Yeah.
And then we went and saw it in theaters, and it was like Bane pulls out a megaphone. He's like, "One of you needs to die," and it's like, what? It was so freaking. They way overcompensated for it. So it was weird.
They went too far the other direction. That's why I really feel like that Nolan actually. I think had influences that maybe made the film not as great as it could have been.
Yeah, absolutely. Because in the end, he had to give in. Because he had said originally he wasn't going to change anything. It's like people will get used to it. And I think they made him change it, which kind of sucks.
Well, I think because I'm still high off of the whole silver linings thing, I'm going for Jackie.
Jackie Weaver?
Yep. But that's because I literally just saw it like 3 hours ago.
That should not influence you.
It does influence me because
it has to be in comparison.
And Hathaway was in there for
this is the only
20 minutes.
This is like one of the few categories I have a right to actually cast a vote. I feel like you should only be able to cast a vote if you've seen them all. Your vote doesn't count.
My vote does
is the only one that
That's
counts. Let it be written. Let it be done.
Mike's vote does not count in support.
I've seen all of them, and I say that's
And Hathaway?
Which one? No,
he
said
said
Helen
Helen
Hunt,
Hunt,
right?
Helen Hunt. She gets full nude, and it's a great performance, and it's.
Do they have separate awards for American?
But it's also really difficult. You see like what she's as a therapist. She's a sex therapist. She's a surrogate to this guy who is paralyzed from the neck down.
Yeah, and
it's tragic, heart wrenching, and sort of how she sort of brings him to sort of a sexual awareness.
Right.
And she's also naked in it, so she's pretty, and she looks smoking hot. I mean,
yeah.
If
Since
you're
Twister, because she's pretty hot in Twister.
If you're into cougar porn, she is. She could do it.
Okay, we'll have to see that. Yeah.
Okay, next category.
Actress in a leading role.
Actress in a leading role. Okay, Monica.
Jennifer Lawrence, Emmanuel Riva.
For what film?
Amor, and then.
Quinzane Willis, the 9-year-old girl from Beasts of the Southern Wild, and Naomi Watts
from The Impossible.
Yeah, that's a tough one.
That is a tough one.
Well, the I've seen Naomi Watts in The Impossible. I thought it was amazing, very physical role as well.
Right,
she would get my vote.
I could see Naomi Watts taking it, but
Jennifer Lawrence.
I'd still vote for Jennifer Lawrence.
I'm actually going to vote for the little girl.
Have you seen that?
No, but
You don't have it right. You can't do it then.
okay,
It's
this is
the
my impression.
rules.
Okay, can I get my impression?
Yes,
No.
I've seen the trailer.
No microphone.
Okay, I've seen the trailer and I've looked into
The poster's amazing.
the IMDb pictures a little bit. The fact that she carries that movie that's about taking this real shit that happens and putting some like more imagination to it. You know, like a 9-year-old would. Like you got to be up on your game for that shit. So that's why I'm voting for her because this. What is it like a?
Let me just say, your vote is interesting, but it doesn't really count for anything. And neither does mine.
Okay, can I have a vote for an asterisk? Asterisk.
Oh, all of ours is just like we're not voting for anything. This is
Opinion.
I am telling it yes, like based on I'm giving you the logic behind
Based on the Rotten Tomatoes.
my thinking. Based on the Office Oscar betting tool, this is what I would say.
Based on my team of scientists I have analyzing these movies. So I'm gonna go with Jennifer Lawrence, even though I haven't seen a more Beast of the Southern Wild or The Impossible, just because I really like her in Silver Linings Playbook.
I didn't like it because she doesn't use her eyes.
Jessica Chastain for Zero Dark 30, she was really, really good, but in a very subtle and understated way.
She was sort of Claire Danesy.
Yes, very Claire Danesy. And Tommy Lee Jones for Lincoln, as well as Christoph Waltz.
Can I
for
interrupt
Django
you for a
Unchained.
second?
Yes.
I want to coach you on saying that like you're actually at the awards. You get up, there's all these people, there's a teleprompter, you walk right up to the microphone and you say this.
Alan Arkin for Argo. And then they show a clip.
But like you're doing it for real.
Come on, get into it, Adam.
Come on, let's hear enthusiasms.
Robert De Niro for Silver Linings Playbook.
Today, Junior.
Take it back. Philip Seymour Hoffman for The Master. Tommy Lee Jones for Lincoln. Yeah, I wonder who's really going to announce this category. But Christoph Waltz for Django? Seriously?
Don't they normally get like someone who, like, they get people who have won awards
prior
previously,
winners.
and then so it's basically past winners and someone interesting who has a movie about to come out.
Yeah, exactly.
usually-
Prior winners and someone pretty.
Yeah,
is
from
usually
the year
where it goes.
before, whoever wins that.
Like Sacha Baron Cohen or something,
Yeah,
but probably not this category.
No, probably not this
You know,
one.
I'm going to say it right now. I'm going to say Christoph Waltz.
You think he's going to win that one?
I think he's going to take it. I think based off the swag with Quentin Tarantino.
But I feel like he's also already won. So I feel like that actually takes him out of the running. Not that it's not deserved, but it's because he has previously won an Oscar.
Right.
I feel like that actually... The Academy's looking to spread the love around. So what are the other nominees again?
Alan Arkin, Robert De Niro.
Alan Arkin, I think, is going to take it.
I agree.
Because he is a popular choice. Argo's a great movie.
Yeah.
I think it's the best movie among all of those. And then, in addition, Alan Arkin is older. The Academy tends to go for older. And I don't believe he's ever won an Oscar.
No, and they probably want to slip one in right before
Yes,
guys.
he's awesome. I feel like he takes it.
Yeah, I
You
agree.
definitely got to think through the logic. It's political.
Yeah, absolutely. And
So-
I think the
so,
only other one I'd say was De Niro, but I thought Arkin was better.
So
Yeah.
Arkin better.
you're wrong. Sorry. That's
All right, well,
go in.
let's just watch the Twitter sphere. when
Yeah,
this
exactly.
happens.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm going to tweet you right when this happens.
okay.
There's
Tweet
the
me.
door.
It's gonna. Okay, so now we're best actor. Here,
Best actor.
I'll read these.
You
I'll
Oh,
read
yeah,
these.
let's do this.
Let's see. Where it is. Where is it
Bottom
here?
left hand.
Actor in a leading role: Bradley Cooper, Silver Linings Playbook. Daniel Day-Lewis, Lincoln. Hugh Jackman, Les Miserables. Joaquin Phoenix, The Master. And Denzel Washington, Flight. And the Oscar goes to... Oh! Daniel Day-Lewis for Lincoln!
That's your bet.
That's my bet. That's my
your
bet?
bet. Because it's Spielberg.
Probably.
It's the performance is just it's like you're watching. I mean, this is what he would be like. I mean, I think that these other performances are amazing, especially Bradley Cooper in Silver Linings Playbook. But I don't know that that's like an award-winning. It's weird. Also, the film is really deceptive because you think you're going to see a football movie and it's a dance contest.
Yes.
It's frickin' Flashdance in a way. Hugh Jackman, Les Miserables, the singing kills it in that movie just because it's not consistent.
Yeah.
And I think Hugh Jackman's fantastic. Joaquin Phoenix in The Master, probably the most interesting performance in this just because it's just so weird. He's a chronic masturbator.
Right.
Is part of the issue with him. And Denzel Washington in Flight is just really... Even this movie still... Because Denzel Washington, I think, is one of the most likable actors on the planet Earth. He
Right.
does loathsome things in this. You
Yeah.
still like him. I mean, he's an alcoholic that just can't... That's destroyed his family and his career. And he's still likable. That's the weird thing is
Yeah.
because it's Denzel Washington and
Yes.
he's likable.
Damn it.
All right, what are your guys' opinions on this?
I believe that
Having gone through all of that in my logic, Daniel Day-Lewis, you can almost
Yeah.
bank on Daniel Day-Lewis, and you can bank on the. I don't know about the Helen Hunt. Like, while I think that that's what I would like to have win, I don't know that I would bank. I wouldn't bank on that.
Yeah.
Don't bank on me. That's my pick. Although the actress in a leading role, the best supporting actor, Alan Arkin, bank on that one.
Yeah, absolutely. I think Daniel Day-Lewis doesn't get out of bed for anything less than an Oscar, so it's most likely going to go to him.
I'm actually going for the underdog. Well, I wouldn't say underdog, but despite Chris, I'm actually going to say Hugh Jackman because of everything you just said. I think.
Well, the one thing is, I will say about this. Here's what's in his favor. Here's why he could be right. He's incredibly likable.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've interviewed him a couple times for some junkety things. It was X-Men related.
Right, of
X-Men
course.
related, of course. Nicest guy on the planet, and everyone retells that story out. He is, because I forget what the junket was. It was like X-Men 3 or whatever. And I come in, and these actors have been doing interviews 3 days straight. I mean,
Right,
look,
yeah.
they get to be actors. They get to be in X-Men movies. Don't feel sorry for them. But you can
Yeah.
see that all the other actors were tired. End of the day, he talks to me for 5 minutes, and he takes the time to have a personal moment. He's filled with energy. And and every single person just raved about what a great. I mean, anyone that I know that's ever worked with him in any capacity
Yeah.
says he's a nice guy. That actually does tie into getting awarded in Hollywood. You're not going to get the nomination if you're an asshole
Yeah, absolutely.
or a cunt.
Yeah.
I want to be fair to the ladies and to women. I want to be fair. You're either an asshole or a cunt, right?
I don't think Megan Fox is ever going to walk down that Academy Award stage, so...
Well, she's a bitch. There's a difference.
No, I think she definitely could be.
yeah.
Okay, so
I'm going to
we're-
say Hugh Jackman. I'm saying Hugh Jackman.
Any other thoughts on this category?
I'd like it to be Hugh Jackman.
Me too.
But it's probably going to
But
be
it's
Daniel
probably
Day-Lewis.
Because Lincoln is important.
Yes.
Yeah.
And the Academy tends to go for important. It goes for
musical.
old. It goes for likable, like people that are likable. It goes for other Academy members that are favorites of theirs. So there's definitely a consistency when you see what the award winners are.
Yeah.
So sort of like they keep that family together. All right. And now the nominees for Best Picture: Amour, Argo, Beasts of the Southern Wild, Django Unchained,
Django, there it is.
Les Miserables, Life of Pi, Lincoln, Silver Linings Playbook, Zero Dark 30, and the winner is Argo.
I agree with this one.
I can see it.
It's really is the perfect movie that the Academy votes for because you've got classic actors in it, older likable actors, not just Alan Arkin. You've got John Goodman.
Yeah, absolutely.
Secondly, you've got Ben Affleck surprising everybody. It's
Yeah.
a historic event that is handled in a way that has relevance. It has relevance to today.
Yeah.
Right. About what are we doing in the Middle East quagmire? Wait, what are we still doing in the Middle East quagmire? Right. So, so the Academy likes the social issue, political aspect, I believe, of that. It was handled incredibly well. It wasn't in terms of the politics. It wasn't forcing a point of view.
Like agendas or anything.
Yeah, I mean, you're always doing it, but then this does it in a subtle way, and but
Yeah.
it's not. And what I also like about it is that it kind of sneaks up on you. The father-son relationship, I think, is amazing. I think it's disappointing. Let's look at director. We didn't do director.
They put it way back on the list.
Well, but that doesn't mean that you can't. Give to me.
It's disappointing that Ben Affleck is not nominated.
Is not nominated. That's exactly what I was going to say. Ben Affleck's not nominated, so let's look at these.
Left-hand corner.
Because it's interesting that there were 9 films. Now, okay, here's a question for you guys. We all agree Argo. Everyone here agree Argo?
Yeah, I agree, Argo.
What would be second if Argo was not among the 9? What would take Best Picture? Take it out of it.
If I'm thinking like the Academy, I'm throwing it at Lincoln.
Yeah.
I agree. I think Lincoln is second.
Yeah, absolutely.
Dark 30.
Django Unchained was really, really good. I don't know if it's Best Picture material.
I feel like the violence is the thing that's going to be against it.
And the fact that it has sort of like a... Because I love what he was going for with the whole spaghetti western feel and sort of the blaxploitation mix, but something like that where it's sort of a throwback to an old style is probably not going to pull it when it's coming for Best Picture.
Yeah.
And then beyond that, I could see them going for either Zero Dark 30 or Silver Linings Playbook. Those would be my best guesses. I didn't see Life of Pi. Something about Life of Pi did not draw me at all.
Yes, I want to play the video game.
Yeah, and it looked that movie looked.
No, it does. It looks
happens.
it looks like, oh, dude, I want to see a movie about a kid on a boat and I'm sure it's beautiful, but I've heard mixed. I've either heard people sing its praises, that it's the most genius thing they've ever seen, or
colorful.
they thought it was crap.
Right, and that's the thing. Like everyone I talked to said,
crap.
Yeah, everyone I talked to said, "Oh, this is amazing," and then I look at the trailers for it, and it looks really mundane in every way. And the like effects and the CG and stuff just look like crap. So
I like the colors.
Yeah, it was pretty.
Yeah, very pretty.
Yeah, but I thought the colors were better on Avengers.
Do we want to go back and go do director because we missed it? We skipped
We
it.
can do that.
Oh, you could edit this and put this before.
Yeah, we have that power.
But I don't know if you want to do that.
It's a lot of work.
And now the nominees for Best Director: Amour, Michael Haneke; Beasts of the Southern Wild, Ben Zeitlin; Life of Pi, Ang Lee; Lincoln, Steven Spielberg; Silver Linings Playbook, David O. Russell. And the winner is... We should just all say it at once. Lincoln! Yeah, it's going to be Spielberg. There's like no doubt in my mind. Because also another factor that gets thrown into the equation, we were talking about the equation of how the Academy votes, is not just, likability with the Academy. It's who do you want to see give a speech?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Which is why I feel I have another theory about the Best Supporting Actress category. That category, to me, is often the best new actress on the scene, best ingenue, best, oh, she's a young, new, hot actress that we've never seen. You mean she's hot and can act, and we've never seen her? And if you go back to so many past Best Supporting Actress award winners, there are a lot of first-timers. There's a lot of, I don't mean they've never done a movie before. I mean they're sort of first in a larger sense, like mainstream success.
Yeah, absolutely.
In a film, so that's funny. Our picks are actually kind of aligned in alignment there.
Well, it's because we think too much about these things.
All right, that's it for this week's show. I really want to thank Adam, Mike, and Monica from the Movie Fools. They were great. They were just so cool. It's weird when I get around my people. My people are geeks, and in particular, movie geeks. I could talk all day. It's why my voice sometimes I get it when I go to conventions. I get convention voice, and I start to sound very scratchy. And it's usually the second day because I'm meeting people in bars and or at parties, and we're hanging out, and it's a nonstop talk fest about stuff. I think the lesson for me is talk less. I think I need to talk less. I really do believe that. I think that, and I've told my producer, Sean Merrick, less of me, more of a taste of the show. So I'm there in the mix, but I want people to get a taste of these other podcasts. Otherwise, why you're listening to the show to discover other shows, and of course to hear me on the shows, but I mean, and to hear what the hell is up with me and what's going on and whatnot. But, I feel like less of me. I would listen to my show more if I was on it less. How about that? Okay? That would be an extra subscriber. So you can get more, follow The Movie Fools on Twitter @The Movie Fools. You can find The Movie Fools on Facebook and just go to themoviefools.com. And of course, as always, PodCRASH. We've got a ton of plugs, including we are going to be at WonderCon in Anaheim, California, Saturday, March 30th at 7:30 p.m. with my special guest, Adrian Curry, other special guests, and a special performance by my friends, the improv comedians at Comic Book Live. We're going to be doing an encore presentation of Star Wars Episode 7 at WonderCon. It's going to be amazing. You can get info by going to facebook.com/podcrash, or you can go to the official WonderCon website. It's comic-con.org/WCA. Check that out. I'll see you on Saturday, March 30th. And I want to thank you for listening, because your support of this show, whether you're posting a good review or whether you're visiting audible.com at audiblepodcast.com/funny, whatever you're doing to support the show, I really appreciate it. I really do. You're the reason I talk into a microphone every week. You are actually you. And send me those questions too. We had a whole question podcast like a month ago, and I will do that again. So PodCRASH with that chrisgore@gmail.com. Ask me anything. And one final thing. Let's get out of here.
How about the horses of Achilles?
No good. Nobody does westerns anymore.
It's ancient Troy.
If it's got horses in it, it's a western.
Yeah, Kenny, please. Yeah, it's John Chambers about the Office Space. It doesn't matter. It's a fake movie.
If I'm doing a fake movie, it's going to be a fake hit.
Hey, is A006 still on the open list? Yeah, I'll hold.
Fade in on a starship landing, an exotic Middle Eastern vibe. Women gather offering ecstatic libations to the sky gods. Argo, science fantasy adventure.
It's in turnaround.
Can we get the option?
Why do we need the option?
You're worried about the Ayatollah? Try the WGA.
Hey, if you're still listening to this, you're probably a lot like me. You're the kind of person that watches the Oscars all the way through to the end credits. If you're that kind of person, we're a lot alike, and I like you. So for that, you shall be rewarded. Send a self-addressed stamped envelope to PodCRASH with that Chris Gore, 5042 Wilshire Boulevard, PMB 1500, Los Angeles, California, 90036. You'll receive, in return, the PodCRASH Fan Club Kit. It's absolutely free. You get a membership card, a sticker, a certificate, a bunch of games. I'm not kidding. And it's free, with your self-addressed stamped envelope. So send it in. And if you're still listening, you also get a bonus piece of audio right after I stop talking. Later. That's my only problem with the Avengers is way too talky stuff about the, like, there's a thing that can kill and destroy everything and opens a dimension. Just say that that's that. We don't need to understand it.
Yeah.
Just, there's a Death Star, blows up planets. We don't need to explain the technology or that it's spiritual or anything. It just does that.
Well, that probably had millions of civilians living on it.
You just need, all you need to do is just hire someone with a British accent who looks menacing to just say that that's what it is.
Yeah.
And then you'll believe it. That's I feel like the secret to everything is just hire someone with a British accent. and then just have them deliver the line, and it's like, you believe the Force because of that. You believe, Alfred when he's talking about when I was in Burma, and he's telling that whole story. Like,
yeah,
you just if anyone with a British accent explains anything, you just believe that. Like, oh wow, that
why
sounds
Loki was
real.